What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Acceptable Accuracy Podcast. I am co-host number 1, Philip, and with me is...
I'm Thing 2. That's Tyler.
Fantastic, Tyler.
I think it's Thing 2, isn't it? From that Dr. Seuss book?
I think so. Honestly, my kids are a little old now for having read that. But along with Thing 2, we also have returning guests, Brent and Daryl. We'd love you guys to introduce yourselves and say hi real quick.
Hello, everybody. I'm Daryl.
Hi, guys. I'm Brent.
Yeah, and Phil, go for it.
I was saying, Tyler, what is our subject of our podcast today?
Today is going to be another topic that I'm very passionate and really excited about, and it's going to be a CPL focused episode today. We don't necessarily have a title that I can think of, but we're going to be talking about the importance of getting a CPL. And ideally, these are the steps you should take before you even get a CPL and what it takes to get a CPL as well. The main reason why we have Daryl and Brent on this episode is because they actually are CPL instructors. And I would love to pick their brain and hear their experiences about this episode. And realistically, it's kind of like a part 2 or a continuation of our previous episode of tips for new shooters. So I'm really excited about this episode today. So that's what we'll be talking about.
I was jokingly gasping because we actually have people on here who know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah. I know, right? I know nothing about this.
He's talking
nothing
to you,
at all.
No.
So speaking of that, Brent, why don't you guys tell us about that? What got you guys to be? How long have you guys been CPL instructors? Tell us about that.
Well, we've been teaching classes since 2017.
Okay.
And what got us into it, so Brent and I are instructors, and there's 2 other instructors that we work with. So there's a group of 4 of us at Liberty and Freedom Firearms. And so Brent, myself, and the other guy all took CPL classes through different people before this, when we originally got our CPLs, and we all had very different and very disturbing experiences.
That's a good word, too.
So we got together, we were talking about it, and we basically said, look, we can do this better. We should be doing this because it needs to be done better. And, it's something that we were passionate about. And so we looked into getting our credentials and started doing classes. And that was, where are we at? 7 years and 3 classrooms ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I know you mentioned that you're with Liberty and Freedom. Is that a company that you guys all started together? Is that something you guys work for somebody, or what is that? What is Liberty and Freedom?
Yeah, it's an LLC that our buddy Arnie started. At the time, he had a storefront that he has his FFL, so he was selling firearms.
Oh, wow, nice.
And it was something that, not only did he want to provide the service, but it was also he had the storefront that he could have the information out there to get people and invite them to the class. Say when he sold somebody a firearm, this is something that you should be looking at, excuse me. And so yeah, originally our first classroom we put together right there in the basement of his store, and then moved on from there. We got bigger and needed more space, and of course we didn't have a range there, so and when we first started, we were doing our classes in one location and then would have to get on the road and go to the range, which was kind of a pain. We've had some issues with that. No longer have to do that. Thank goodness.
Oh, man. So I'll tell this story. This is kind of funny because I've known of Arnie for a long, long time. We kind of run in those circles, and Daryl and Arnie were really tight friends in high school. Pretty much right after high school, Daryl and I became really tight friends. And one day, Daryl says to me, "Hey, I'm going up to my buddy's house, and we're going to shoot some guns." And we enjoyed guns and firearms and stuff like that, but we weren't competing or doing anything like that. And it was blistering, screaming cold out. Like the only thing you could see on us is like our eyes through our glasses because we were bundled up so tight. We did
Like
this.
yesterday.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes. And I actually still have a video of this. If Phil and Tyler, if I ever am around, I might show it to you. But we did these couple of drills, and we thought we were all hot snot, and
Mhm.
it was
cold snot.
Oh man, no, there was no snot. It was all frozen. But so we did these things basically in Arnie's backyard, and it's kind of funny because every time I look at where we're at now with hundreds of people trained, we got a amazing training facility, indoor training facility for classes, and then a private outdoor range. We just had it's just been really good and really fun, and of course that got us into competitive shooting and match
Yep.
directing and all that type of stuff. So Daryl's the glue that held all that together, and then all these pieces came together. And the other instructor is actually Arnie's wife. And
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
well,
That's really cool.
well, it's cool
Yep.
because and especially because she'll do like all girl classes. Because let's face it,
Exactly. Mhm.
there's some ladies that are really apprehensive being in a classroom with a bunch of macho dudes.
Yes.
And we try really hard. We try so hard to not be that.
We
But then,
actually
For those listening to this episode who listened to the previous episode, that's exactly what Phil and I were chatting about.
we did not prep Brent to talk about
Nope,
that. Just so you
not
guys
at
know.
all.
no,
Those words specifically too. Macho
Yeah.
dudes.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's quite bad, how the guys will come in with that. But so Susan does this, and they start talking about like range bags and what color they should be, and how they should
Mhm.
correspond with your shoes and your purple gun, and all that stuff.
Perfect. I love
So-
it. I love it,
Cornflower
man.
blue. Got it.
So it was I say it was like destiny how that happened, and even with the resources that Arnie brought with his store and his FFL, and the fact that he had a basement that we could finish, and it's just been really good and super fun.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you don't mind me asking, which company did you guys go with to get your qualifications? Was it like USCCA, NRA, or
Oh,
who is
that's
it?
you, Daryl. You get to do that one.
Well, okay, so we started out with the NRA.
Mm-hmm.
We did that for at least a year, maybe a year and a half or so. And the NRA course requires that you have the legal part of it taught by an attorney,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
which is quite expensive.
Yes, it is.
And when the MCRGO came out, which is what we're doing right now, Michigan Coalition of Responsible Gun Owners, they figured out a way to do that by video, which cut the cost. And if everybody was hiring an attorney, then it's okay because everybody's
There you
got the
go.
same cost.
Right.
Now, once you've got people doing it that don't need to hire the attorney, hiring an attorney is no longer viable for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
they're
you want to
$300
do it,
class.
unless you want to do it for free.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
But so a year and a half into it or so, we started looking at MCRGO and really liked their curriculum, liked the fact that we could do the legal stuff by video, liked the fact that they were very busy in Lansing, so they were working at the state level government rather than the federal level like the NRA was. So they were doing a lot more for the citizens of Michigan. And that was probably, it had to have been sometime in 2018. So
I would think so.
it
Yeah.
was probably just over the year mark, but it was a good move. There's still some stuff about it that we'd like to do differently, but it's a much better fit for what we're doing than the NRA was.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So I guess kind of moving on with that. So why, let's say it's for an average viewer, someone who's listening to our episode right now, why even get a CPL? What's the purpose of that?
Hmm. That's actually an easy one. There's a bunch of reasons I could think of. Well, get one now in case you can't later.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I mean, it sounds funny, but the
Hmm.
way with some of the bills that our governor has in that what is it, 857, 858. I mean, there's some crazy stuff. Even some of the stuff that happened in February 13th on the last February, you looked
Hmm.
at it and it's like, well, this is going to make it better, and it really didn't affect us CPL holders quite. I mean, like not really at all.
Hmm.
And like the safe stores law. Anyway, um, the next reason for me would be is to come in and learn all this stuff. It's the hardest thing that Daryl, Arnie, and I do, I think, is try not to overwhelm somebody in class with information, because I mean they look like deer in the headlights sometimes when you're going, okay, so this is a starting point, right? This is the very beginning of your career and
Hmm.
whatever with a firearm.
Yeah.
And there's all these rules, and you need to know all these rules, and you need to be
Mm.
you need to be the
Yeah,
student of this law, which changes all of the time
it
or has the potential
does.
to.
Hmm.
So that, and then again, you have a lot of freedoms, and if people really start looking at what you can do when you, how do I say it? With a CPL, you have so many more privileges,
Hmm.
and because, like you're saying, the lack of you have to have a CPL to carry. So explain that with me, Daryl. Open carry in Michigan is really open carry because it says that it doesn't say you can't, right?
Right, right. There's
Okay.
nothing against. There's nothing saying that you cannot.
Right. So along with open carry, there's a whole bunch of rules that once you get your CPL, lots of those rules go away. So I gave you a really long answer to get your CPL because you'll have a lot more freedoms,
I agree.
and
Yeah.
some of the rules for just being a open carrier go
Hmm.
away.
Yeah,
So
which is actually really interesting because Phil and I we were actually getting lunch on Sunday and with another family in the church, and one of the guys, his parents were somehow in the area, went to the same restaurant, came up and we're chatting. He came up to me, he's like, "Hey Tyler, did you renew your CPL? Because we took the class together 4.5 years ago, and it was just about to, mine just expired. So I had to renew mine. And he asked me, like, hey, I don't really carry that often. Should I renew my
Oh,
CPL? And
yes,
Phil and I, pretty much in
yes,
unison, said, absolutely yes.
yeah,
Renew that
Yeah,
thing before the what was it 125 or $150 for the 5 years
115.
of 150. Oh, 100. Wow. Even better,
yep,
$115. It's so worth it because once again, like you kind of briefly mentioned how what happened in February with that new law that was in place, where here in Michigan, of course, we're talking about our context, how once again, and by the way, we're not lawyers. I gotta
no,
put that out there. This is not legal advice. We're buddies chatting. These guys are instructors, but we're not lawyers, not legal advice. We're just chilling, hanging out here, having a conversation. You guys get to listen to our conversation.
yeah.
But
Always,
Yeah.
always double check anything we say.
exactly, please double check it. Check your state, local, federal laws, etc. City laws, apparently, because some cities are even more strict about it. Think Chicago, but
Yeah, Chicago.
Detroit. So, but how we're like, dude, because of that, like how here in Michigan now, if you do not have a CPL, one example is if you do not have a CPL to purchase, is it a firearm or is it a pistol? do you, do you guys, I can't remember for sure, but either way, to do that you have to go and get a pistol. I guess it is a pistol, to get a pistol permit, pistol
This
purchase permit.
purchase
purchase
permit,
permit,
yes,
correct,
Yep, a
yes,
pistol
that is
purchase
correct.
permit. But if you have a CPL, you don't have to do that. You can just go, just like going to the store as normal, get your background check, and then buy the gun, and you're good to go.
yep,
So that's
Correct.
just one thing that is an annoyance. And also, Phil and I were chatting about this too in the previous episode. How, let's say your spouse has a CPL, you do not, and they can carry in Michigan. You can carry your pistol in your car anywhere you want. Let's say they put in their glove compartment, forget about it there. You without a CPL, go and drive, you get pulled over, and the police officer finds out you have a gun in there and you don't have a CPL. Good luck.
It's a bad day.
That's a bad day. Yep.
It is.
And you take that
Yep.
one
Get
step
it.
further. Another reason to get your CPL is because it is illegal in Michigan to loan a pistol to somebody unless they have a CPL.
That's right. I forgot
If
about
you
that.
if you have a CPL, you can carry anybody's legally registered firearm. You can have it on your person. You can So
And it is not the amount. There's not an amount that you can have on you.
no.
Nope.
Although
Right.
after the
Yeah.
second one, they kind of look at you a little funny.
They do. Right. Right.
You start pulling out your AR pistol.
Yeah.
They're like, okay.
Yeah.
I know. Or you got your ankle carry, you got your appendix carry, you got your 3 o'clock, you've got your AR pistol slung on you in your
backpack.
backpack.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
like your.
It's your shower gun. Yeah.
You guys are just freaks.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yep.
You don't do that.
No, I have carried 2 at one time, but that was because I was carrying one for a friend.
Oh, there you
My
go.
record is 5.
Oh, is it really?
I need to hear this story. Daryl, please tell this story. I need to know this. I don't care if this is even related to. I need to hear this. How you carried 5?
I carried 5 just to see if I could. Just because okay. So here's the other thing.
Oh
when
my
you
God.
obviously get into when you get a CPL and you decide you're going to start carrying in public, you go through a phase of trying to figure out where the most comfortable spot
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for
the
sure.
best access. So you wind up with a box of holsters.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we just talked
Shoot,
about this
it is
too.
a continuation
One
of the last
evening-
episode, guys.
One evening, I decided to find out how many of these holsters I could wear at one time without them interfering with each other.
Okay.
And I had one on my hip, I had one under my shoulder, I had one in the small of my back, I had one on my ankle, and I don't even remember where I had
Probably
them
in your
all.
underwear.
Pocket carry.
That could have been.
That is amazing. I love it.
That's
See, now you got me
But
thinking
yeah,
about how many I could carry on my
And I'm
person.
not even a big guy. That's what, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to conceal. And I was doing this concealed. This was before I started open carrying, so I was, seeing how many I could conceal without looking like somebody that was carrying 5 firearms.
Yeah.
Or sound like
Imagine-
a junk truck when you walked.
There you go. There you go.
I gotta imagine at some point too, it really starts to weigh you down.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Like I said, it was just to see if I could. I certainly would not want to do that on a daily basis, or even all day long, for that matter. Wow.
Dude, can you imagine if the bad guy picked Daryl on that day?
Daryl, like, which gun do I pick?
Exactly. He'd have probably got me because it would have taken him too long to figure out which one I wanted to use.
Or like, you imagine you're driving and a cop pulls you over and you inform them because
my
we have a
goodness,
requirement
yes.
to do so in the state of
A duty
Michigan.
to
They're like,
inform. Mhm.
sir,
Yes.
where are you carrying? Yes.
Yeah.
Here, and here.
Yeah.
And of course, it's funny because I have been pulled and I did get a ticket. This was probably 8 months, 10 months ago. And I do remember getting pulled. And of course, here in Michigan, like Phil mentioned, we have a duty to inform. And I remember just having my hands tended to. Officer comes up, rolled down, and was like, "Hi, my name is Tyler, and I am a CPL holder. Here's my card. My firearm is at my 12 o'clock position right now in appendix." He's like, "Cool." It's like,
Okay.
Cool.
basically, he looked at me, is like, says, "You don't pull yours, I won't pull mine." I'm like, "Yes, sir."
Whatever.
I know, right?
There's
That's what
something-
I was taught. I was taught do it immediately. I'm like, okay,
It's the law,
Yeah.
Tyler.
Yeah.
exactly.
You
It's
must
the law.
disclose. You must
Mhm.
disclose.
Yep.
Okay. And that's something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't go there.
No. Go.
Go, man.
No, I had an altercation with the DNR one time
Oh man.
out in the woods when I was carrying, and they just came up and were asking me questions like friendly people, Not
Mhm.
I wasn't stopped or anything, so I didn't say anything. And after
Mhm.
about 20 minutes, he asked me if I had any weapons on me, and I said, of course. I
Mhm.
had my pistol in my shoulder holster. He's like, "Well, you're supposed to," and it went south from there.
Oh, jeez.
No, I don't agree with you guys. So
Well, Daryl's not locked up, so he must have won that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
know, right?
yeah.
Exactly. That you know of. Who
Right.
knows? Maybe he's
Well,
probably got an ankle tracker.
it's true. And
No,
and the DN,
I haven't lost one yet.
I
an
love
ankle
it.
tracker.
Or a
No,
DNR agent.
an altercation.
Oh, right. Daryl's had quite a few. He's got good stories. It's one of the fun things about teaching is because you can bring some of this stuff to light.
Hmm.
And I'll try to get us. Will pull us back on track. You were talking about in the car, a husband, a wife, a spouse, whatever
Yep.
does or doesn't. We've had several women that have come in to basically earn their CPL or take the class because their husband does exactly that. Leaves a gun in the
Hmm.
car sometimes.
Yep.
They have no intention of carrying themselves, but it does protect them on that. I think of like Chris Thompson's, wife, and well, actually, we've had some police officers' wives in
Yeah.
the class as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
And
that's pretty fun.
even if they're not just going to leave the gun in the car, I mean, if you get in an accident and you got to go to the hospital, who are you
Yep.
gonna leave your firearm with? You
Yep.
certainly don't want the police to
Oh, yeah,
confiscate
that's a
it
good point.
because there's nobody else
Right.
Hmm.
that can take control of it.
Wow,
Right.
that's
I
actually a really
mean,
good point. Wow.
for a few hours of your time and some money, you can just hand it right to your wife and she can, take it home for you.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Hmm.
So, and like saying along with the CPL thing, teaching the class, because we've done it for such a long time, there's so many good stories and things that we learn from students. And I can honestly say just about every class, somebody will ask a question that I'll go, oh, good one. Nobody's
Hmm.
asked that before.
Hmm.
So you dig into it, and you have a conversation with your fellow instructors, and even sometimes right even in the classroom, and you kind of work through it, because there's so much to know and there's so much to learn and so many things to do right. Um, and another thing that, like, we'll teach that as well. Our attorney teaches that, but is a traffic stop. This
Yeah.
super high tension. For a police officer. So be courteous, kind, show love and grace.
Hmm.
Me personally, dome light comes on, all the windows go down in the whole vehicle, so that when they walk by, they can see in the back seat, they can see in the, all that
Hmm.
stuff. I want them to be very, very comfortable. Two reasons. I want them to be comfortable. I don't want to get shot.
Exactly. Hmm.
Yeah. And then you can let all the fart smell out of the car too. So yeah.
There is that. And well, and especially if you're smoking weed, and then it just goes out. You bunch of bozos.
I wasn't
knew
gonna
it.
go there. I was gonna go.
I
With this
knew
fart
he was
smell.
going there.
I wasn't. That's how innocent I am. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, innocent.
Yes, I am.
He's a pastor. He's very innocent.
Yeah. Yep. Ask, like, never mind. That'll rabbit trail on us, but
Yeah.
anyway. So
That came from his experience in his first CPL class.
Oh, somebody was asking, what if I smoke weed? No, you can't do that and have a CPL.
oh my gosh, keep it up. And that's the other thing. I mean, Daryl can tell his thing, I can tell mine, but when at the beginning of this, when we were talking and talked about why we started this, Daryl was explaining why we started this. Our experiences were what was the word you used? Just
Disturbing.
disturbing.
Disturbing? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I was the last one to do that, to go back and take that class over, because back then, was it CCW, Daryl, that we had?
No, it's always CPL.
Has it been CPL? I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because the way
CCW
back,
is the charge that you get. It's carrying concealed
right,
weapon is the charge
Yeah.
you get if you don't have a CPL. It's
right,
always been
and
that
yeah,
way.
I know that now, but like
Yeah.
20 years ago, because I had a permit, but it was called a home bank and business. I didn't have a 24/7 permit. I had to go in and fight for that with all the police board. And I know, Daryl, you've been pulled before them before, when it was separate. But anyway, no, just to send my mind off to the side. My class was so bad. There was fake certificates. There was ammunition in the classroom. Our shooting time was a freaking joke as far as safety. There's people behind me with loaded guns walking up, swinging them like
goodness.
they're getting ready to go bowling or something. It
Yeah.
was
Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
freaking no attorney.
Well,
Some friend of a
Hmm.
police officer came in and taught the legal lesson. It was
Yep.
trash.
But the
Wow.
reason that the certificates were fake was because the guy's instructor credentials weren't up to date, right?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Oh, and there's that.
What?
Yeah,
Well, he
there's
couldn't.
that.
Yeah, he couldn't actually go on the portal for NRA and actually print off, the certificates. The NRA had a pretty good system when it comes to that, and so does McCargo. So as
Mm-hmm.
an instructor, you can go in, you can set up a class, and then say, okay, here's this proper spelling, print, and you can print your certificates off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it works out really well. None of that, this just absolute craziness, and I don't know if I guess I can say this when I started the process to become an instructor with the NRA, Daryl and Arnie were already, and I was just coming in as a range officer because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
actually have instructor credentials during the NRA thing. But our instructor from the NRA, he was asking some questions, and it ended up he investigated that guy, and he was like they shut him down.
They
Wow.
booted him
That's
too.
insane.
As
Wow.
they should have. And then anyone that
Oh,
takes their class, I'd
100%.
be worried about like
Oh yeah, it was
it's
it
not
was
the class or the
The
student's fault in
student's
that case.
fault.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
no,
No,
it wasn't.
unfortunately, no. But
Jakes.
they still
But
had a certificate that was no good.
right,
Exactly.
and that's sad. So anyway, so that's the fun part of CPO.
Wait,
Then there's
so this was so correct me if I'm wrong. When you say so this class you're talking about the fake certificate, like what do you mean by that? Like what class were you in? Were you trying to be an instructor in this one
oh
or
no, it's sorry. I see
I'm
what you're talking about.
lost.
No. So what had
Yeah.
happened is I had let all of my stuff go, and
Okay.
because I had it. Jesus, it's got to be 30 years ago now. But
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
so
So you let your CPL or CCW or whatever expire, so you had to take another one. Is that
right.
what you're
Well,
saying?
in
Or
order
okay.
to no, here's the fun part. So Arnie and Daryl weren't NRA instructors yet, so I couldn't take the
Mm-hmm.
class from them. So we're like, hey,
Yep.
I'll just take this one because I had to have a CPL
Mm-hmm.
maybe through the NRA before I could take my range safety officer class through NRA.
Gosh.
So I
Okay,
did that,
got
and
it.
I came back, and I'm telling Daryl and Arnie this, and they're like, "What?" I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my
Okay.
gosh!
Wow.
So it was fun. Um,
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I'm trying to figure, like, dude, like, if this was like for the instructor class and these are guys
oh
coming, I was like, yeah, I've got
No,
a
no, no,
dude,
no, no.
that'd be insane. And of course,
no,
I'm hearing like you're like people are behind you, you're being flags, people moving their guns like bowling balls. I'm like, holy
yeah,
cow,
no.
man.
Our instructor he was like on point, man. That dude, he
Mm-hmm.
was by the book.
For sure.
Yep.
So
That was kind of my experience too, going through my CPL. I went through a local indoor range. I didn't know any difference. I didn't really know what to do or where to start. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, it's a local range that's privately held, and like they must have someone. And they actually did a really good job with it. I don't remember what the curriculum was at the time, but they had a lawyer in the classroom, and the range
then it was
time was
NRA.
good. That must have been, yeah. The
Mhm.
range time was really good. There were people that technically passed the shooting part of the course, but if I was like, if they had any discretion, they probably would have been like, nah, bro, you got to come back again and do better next time. But they technically passed it, so they got their certificate. Again, I don't
So,
agree with that, but
so I
yeah.
mean, I get yeah. So I guess kind of speaking of that, what let's say someone has taken the CPL class, did or is doing the range part of the CPL class. What is a passing grade?
Not
Boy.
shooting yourself or somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've heard. I didn't know for sure. I was curious. I mean,
So
once
this
again, because
is
yeah, go for it.
so the only thing that we as instructors are allowed to disqualify a student on is safety.
Hmm.
Anything else, we are required to continue to work with them until they get the passing grade.
Gotcha.
What the shooting portion of it is, and that's why we're there. We're there to teach them,
For
how to
sure.
shoot,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and it's not hard. Okay,
No. No.
um, we're basically at 21 feet and putting 10 consecutive rounds on an 8 by 10 piece of paper.
Hmm.
That is the final drill that they have to do. But even if they
The
don't get that,
qualifier.
the qualifier, thank you.
Yep.
And so even
Hmm.
if they don't get it the first time, we have them load up 10 more rounds and they do it again. and we work with them until they can do it. The only thing that we're allowed to say, you don't get your certificate, you're not going to pass this class, is because of safety reasons. And even then, it's normally um, we're going to end the class for you today and ask you to come back when we can work with you one-on-one and figure out so that you understand these safety violations, what you did, why you can't do it. And, I don't think there's ever been anybody that we just flat out said, no, we're not going to sign a certificate for
because it
you.
was just that bad.
Right.
Yep.
No, we've always brought him back. My first, I'd never forget it. My first really kind of flagrant violation was this little old lady. She's sweet as pie, and I know it was she didn't intend to do it, but she had a malfunction with her gun, and she started swinging it around to show me, and my reaction just kind of went like protector on it. I actually scooped her up. I picked her right up and faced her downrange.
Please tell me that you have that on video.
I don't, but
no security cam footage or
well,
anything.
I grabbed her hand and pointed down range, but she was a tiny little lady, so I could just
For sure.
really, and she's crying because she knows she screwed up and stuff.
Yeah.
And the best part about that, guys, is she did come back like a week or two later, and Arnie instead of usually Arnie would take those because he's up there and it's easy, but I got to come in and work with her, and she was so appreciative, and just she did really well, and ended on a very good note. But she was so she was crying. I was like, I'm gonna have to hug this lady or something. I don't know. So
It's funny because we actually, one of the things I brought up with for people that are new to shooting, if you go to an indoor range, was if you ever have questions, the RO at the indoor range is going to be the person to ask. But if you're at the firing line and you have a question about your firearm or anything like that, please leave your firearm on the table in front of you facing downrange before you go to ask the person about any questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or put it on the table and then turn to them, and then they say, hey, may I have some assistance? Again, with a firearm on the table facing downrange. That avoids a lot of flagging problems.
Oh, for sure. Which, I mean, of course, for those who do go to indoor ranges, I believe most of them require you to sign a piece of paper that basically says, when I will leave my gun at the firing line when I need to move. Like, it has to be in a case if I move. But of course, we all sign it. But does everyone actually listen to that or remember that? Does that actually happen now?
That's true. Yep.
So,
And that's one of the things we have a lot of really good attorney input. Daryl has a very good friend attorney that he uses, and he helped us with our lien waiver or our liability waiver and things like that. So it's really good.
That's awesome.
Protected, and we'll call it strict on anytime somebody comes to the range to sign that. So
yeah. So let's say I'm a new shooter or I am new to firearms. Let's say this is Tyler. 2020, riots happen. I am terrified. I want to get into guns. I want to get a CPL. What should I do before I actually go to a CPL class? Ideally.
I don't know, Tyler. That's the problem.
Ideally, I'd like you to be comfortable with that firearm. I don't want you to be scared of it. If you're scared of the firearm, if you think the firearm is going to hurt you, then that's an issue that we have to work through before we can go any further.
For sure.
Yeah. My response to that was just like a basic pistol class would be great, but show me who's offering that besides us.
There's the problem. Yep.
I know.
That's the problem. So if somebody said, hey, my nephew would like to, I can promise you all four of the instructors at Liberty and Freedom would say, when do you want to shoot? Well, how much is it? Nothing. Come out and shoot. We'll get you. No, seriously.
No,
we don't charge for it.
Yeah.
We do it for them. Yep.
Yep. And there's times where I bring the ammo and the guns and say, what do you think? And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can get into this. And it's a good start, but people aren't doing that. I would love to, I don't know if I don't want any more laws about guns or anything like that. And I think the CPL class is really good. the curriculum and what is required to get a CPL, what has to happen in the class. I think it's very good. But man, I would love to have a basic pistol before that and say, hey, you need to take the 4-hour basic pistol class, and here's the criteria for all of you instructors. Go.
I would like to see them require the basic pistol at the time of purchase.
So see, there's a good idea. Okay. Yeah. So we've
Because,
got all
and
these
this is,
hoops we got to jump through, right? Do that.
yeah. And my reason for that is it would eliminate a lot of the people coming with guns that don't fit them.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Phil. It's not like we spoke about that either, right?
We definitely covered that as well too.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
told
you
you it's a
did. I'm sure you
continuation.
did.
But honestly, though, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted the both of you to have a conversation outside of that previous conversation without prepping you on any of it, because you're going to see a lot of similar advice and trends from people that have shot more than Tyler and I have, and that also have credentials to be able to teach a CPL class.
They're
So it's
actual
not like it's
instructors.
not just Tyler and Philip saying you should do these things. It's actual instructors that are telling you to do these things as well too, just based on experiences that we've all had that are similar and tend to distill into the same thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And the same concepts of being a safe firearms owner.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is, it's also nice to know, because that means Phil and I actually know what we're talking about. It's like,
You
thank
do.
Hey,
goodness.
be careful saying that, because my wife might listen to this podcast and then she would have to correct you that I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Maria's not listening to anything you're doing.
That is true. She listened to like our first episode and she was like,
Uh-huh.
"That's good. Nice job,
Yep.
honey." And patted me on the back and patted me on the head and then walked off.
That's nice, honey. Now put it away and get to work.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, make some money.
Man.
Right.
You hear that, Phil? Just be a firearms instructor.
Yeah, very very glorious. Lots of income, I'm sure.
Come on,
Oh,
Hollywood.
yeah, lots of
The
income.
Hollywood instructor.
Lots of income.
That
Well, you
was
guys
sarcasm, by the
remember
way.
that part of this CPL class for the state of Michigan. No, it doesn't matter which one you're doing because they all have to cover the same stuff. But there's a section in there on firearms and how to choose one. Well, unfortunately, by that time, it's usually too late. They've already got one that they brought to class that
Right.
doesn't work.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Daryl's hitting the nail on the head here. Not only something that fits you and stuff, something that you're familiar with. We want to train you with the firearm that you're planning on carrying. We don't want to supply you with a crappy little 22 and say, "Oh yeah, you did really well. Now let's put 18,000 psi of pressure in your hand every time you press the trigger."
I know, right?
And you know, that's
Exactly.
going to scare the bejesus out of you.
All right.
So yeah, it's
so bring my 50 cal. My
yeah,
BMG.
exactly. Your Desert Eagle.
Yes, sir.
Yep, gold plated.
Ooh, tiger stripe.
Had a guy ask me for one of those the other day. Hey, do you guys sell guns? Yeah. You got a 50 caliber Desert Eagle gold plated? And I said, yeah, we got 3 of them.
Really? How much does that even run?
Who cares?
Someone
A car.
who's got a
used
budget.
car. That's what it costs. A used car.
Exactly. If I'm asking, that means I am not the target audience.
It's craziness, whatever. So, and Daryl, I don't know how many times you would think it happened, but how many times do we deal with a husband who bought his wife a gun because it's little and it'll fit in her purse?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Ugh.
But it's not always the husband, and a lot of times it's the shop owner
Yes.
that trying just something that'll fit her hand, and they just don't give the right advice. All they care about is the sale.
Yes.
But yeah, it happens a
I
lot,
know.
and unfortunately, it's mostly with the females because of the hand size and hand strength.
Yes. And that's something too that Phil and I'm going to briefly review this, but how we spoke about in the last episode, how when it comes to picking a good concealed carry gun, there are really, in my opinion, the 2 criteria you're looking for, which is just simply the shootability and the concealability / comfortability with it. And it's just trying to find that balance of the 2. The bigger the gun, easier to shoot. Smaller the gun, easier to carry. So it's trying to find that middle ground where you could actually do both. So that's where you're actually carrying it. So
Yeah.
And jumping a little weird, Daryl and Arnie, and Arnie's wife and I had the opportunity to take the MCRGO everyday carry class.
okay.
Actually, Stop laughing, man. Stop it.
Okay, we're laughing for a reason. What's going on? Tell us about that.
It was once again we're looking at each other going, we could do this so much better, man.
Sorry.
It was tough. It was tough to go through, but we did it through. And where I'm going with this is Daryl carries a SIG 365, which is a fairly small firearm that he's carrying right now. And he took that whole EDC class. All of us did with our carry guns, but like I'm saying, Daryl having the smallest gun there, and he freaking dimed that thing. There was not a miss. There was not a close to miss. There was nothing. There wasn't a time that wasn't met, any of those things. And I think it kind of shocked this instructor because
he was I can't do that.
Well, no, wow, these guys are good.
No, there was no doubt. He couldn't
For sure.
outshoot us. That instructor could not outshoot us. He tried.
Of course.
He tried. It was like, I wanted to say, you want me to do that for you? But it was a tough day, but we learned a lot, and we learned a lot on what not to do. And no, we did, seriously. And well, think about it. We're teaching CPL classes and basic and advanced stuff because the three of us had a bad experience in a CPL class, and we decided we could do it better. And that's not trying to say us as far as, we're just better people than them or whatever, but as a team, as we look at it, because we take turns teaching. I mean, there'll be 2 or 3 of us, just in the classroom teaching. So we're nice and fresh, and a couple of us on the range, taking the exercises and taking the range master part of it, and all that stuff. So we work as a team, and it works out really good. So we're always sharp. If one of us is kind of dull, then we can spice each other up. So
how big is a class typically?
We've had big classes. We like 12 is what we
like.
We try to cap. Well, we cap it at 18.
18, but we
gotcha.
Like 12.
Okay. 12. That's good. Yeah, that's a great number. 12 disciples.
Oh, that's
literally.
We've had class. I think, what was that one at VFW? Was that 29?
Holy cow!
Yeah.
But
we split the range time on them.
Right.
We did half of them on Saturday and the other half on
You'd
Sunday.
have to. There's just no way. Wow. Unless all of you guys were there and there are different parts of the range that was big enough. Wow.
We don't want to have. I mean, we want to have 2 on the line per instructor. Was what we do.
Yes.
So,
are you guys seeing a lot of changes in the makeup of those who are coming to get their CPLs? By which I mean, are you getting more women? People that are older, younger? What's your Are the trends going in any direction? You don't know. You don't.
Well,
they, them. I don't care.
I'm Asian for those who's listening. Just saying.
Yeah.
I can't be racist.
I did not know that. I just knew you were American.
So you didn't hear my answer when you were talking?
Nope. Didn't hear a word. Nope.
Democrats? Yeah. Yes, we have.
I believe it.
Yep. It's like straight up seriously on some of that stuff. What was the one lady was she from South Africa that we had? That was cool.
Oh boy, I don't remember that, Brent.
Yeah, she was from South Africa, and she was one of those that said, "I never ever dreamed that I would want to own a firearm," and she did really well actually. But there's of course quite a few more women, that are coming through, and I think that has a lot to do with our all girl classes, which is, like I'm saying, they're really fun. They just have a good time, and they laugh, and they're relaxed, and they ask all kinds of questions that they would think are silly if they asked in front of a man, and they're not.
If it's an all girl class, how do you know?
There's times where we have to sneak in to help.
Do you wear a dress when you do that?
Well,
oh my goodness,
I normally wear a dress when I'm teaching CPL because it's just the right thing to do, Phil.
It was very comfortable.
Just wear a kilt, man.
No, it's easier to conceal.
Here.
Mr. Put 5 guns on. Yeah, you can call a timeout.
Oh my word.
So it's good. It's good. Where else you want to go with this, guys? Because I mean, we could talk all night about this.
Oh, for sure. So I guess I guess you kind of already alluded to this. So is there any requirement or qualification that someone needs to get before even taking a CPL class, or can someone be like, I have a gun and I'm just going to take a CPL class?
You know, they can pick it up from the gun store and come straight to us.
Wow. Wow, that's. I
And
mean,
they
don't get me wrong,
have.
that's basically what I did, so I can't say much. Looking back, I'm like, holy cow.
Tyler, I'm going to go. You were a little bit different case because you were. I mean, like you knew where you wanted to go and how you wanted to get there. You just didn't know how to do it.
True, exactly. And for me, it was like the riots happened, bought a shotgun, and then pretty soon after, I was like, I want to do concealed carry, but I just didn't really have any training. I didn't really know.
Sure.
And I was like, I just want to get the CPL figured out. And then from there, of course, previous episode happened. So for those listening, you already know. But I just jumped straight into it to watch YouTube videos. And I took all of John Lovell's Warrior Poet Society pistol classes, one,
Mhm.
2, and 3, all online. That's what, like 4 hours worth of online training, 5 hours of training, whatever. So like I just dove straight in because I was like, I just don't know and I want to learn.
And
And this is
you probably did 99% more than most of the people. I mean, they come.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
the thing is I did that after I got my CPL.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Gotcha.
what? No. I wish I did all that leading into. No. I'm saying I did that all after post CPL. That's like further training. When I got my CPL, I think I've shot a gun once in my life.
Okay.
So
So
I
Brent
think
was
Daryl hit the
right.
nail on the head. So
Earlier when you said that the basic pistol is the best starting place, you were, exactly correct. But nobody offers it.
right.
I know
I'm sorry. Very few
very
people
few.
offer it.
Right.
Everybody treats the CPL class as the first
Yes.
pistol class.
Yeah, I
And
do know that the center shot gun range because I had a buddy recently come up to me. He's like, "Hey Tyler, I'm curious in getting my CPL. What do I need to do?" And I said, "Okay." So I kind of gave him some people. Some people kind of reach out to some contacts, and you guys were one of them. I don't know if he's reached out or not, but and I was trying to look around. I was like, "Well, if he wants one sooner," I was looking around. I was like, "Oh, maybe center shot." And I noticed that they have a CPL class and they also have a basic pistol class.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember on their website, they did say that if you are not proficient, I think, I can't remember if they basically said that you have to prove that you actually know what you're doing, or they're like, their verbiage was probably like, we highly encourage you to take our basic pistol class first before you take our CPL class if you don't have proficiency. So, which I agree with. I don't. People definitely treat, at least here in Michigan, do treat the CPL class as the basic pistol course when in reality it's not.
right.
No, it's not. I was actually just looking on our website. By the way, Daryl, how come? I'm gonna have to say her name. Well, I won't. How come Arnie's wife is the only one that has a picture in the instructor's profile?
I
Well, you
noticed
don't want to
that.
scare
You
people
know the
off.
answer to that.
Oh my gosh!
I did
Anyway,
notice
She's the
that.
best
I
looking one in
remember
the
looking
group.
into.
she's the best looking female in the group.
She's the only
Again,
female.
All
you
right.
don't want to scare people off.
Oh, I'm not that scary looking.
You put Arnie's photo in there.
Oh, so you got a full beard right now, Brent. I don't know about that, bro. You're in like
Whatever.
you're in
So,
your winter what's it called? Abominable snowman phase
yeah,
right now. You're in hibernation bear phase.
somebody said I was looking to be one of the Santas at the mall, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
There's a
That's
call.
right up your
We still
alley.
need a call sign for Brent. There's a call sign in here somewhere.
Possibly. Here's my call
Santa.
sign. When are you guys going to start doing video? You keep telling me you're going to do video.
Yeah, Phil, when are we gonna do video?
That was a
Whenever you want to start editing it, dude.
okay.
I'm good to go. Let's do it next episode.
Whatever.
All
I
right,
just
let's do it.
realized that's what
All right,
Kyle.
we'll do it.
Well, we'll see. All right.
He's
So,
not that pretty.
well, he doesn't know. All right,
I
moving
can't
on.
even make my mic work. Let's not go to cameras.
But
You'll just have to go to Brent's house. He can hook you up.
Oh yeah.
oh man, but I guess kind of speaking of that, so now someone has their CPL, right? They've passed the class, they got the CPL. What is next? What should a person do? Ideally, what should they do next now that they have their CPL? They've got the class,
Right.
did all the paperwork, whatever. Got the piece of plastic in the mail. Now what?
Write down the expiration date.
Yep.
Yep.
Now this is true
it on-
story.
Put it on your
So
Google Calendar.
Ooh.
Brent already alluded to the fact that I have a friend who's an attorney, and he was very instrumental in us getting started with Liberty and Freedom.
Yep.
When I don't remember if it was when I started instructing. It must have been because I didn't know him when I first got my CPL. But anyway, I had a question for him about the time frame of it all. So I give him a call. We're talking. He's driving, and he was in Detroit of all places. And he said, "I don't know. Let me pull mine out and look at it." So he pulls his out. He was carrying on an expired CPL
Oh
through
my
Detroit.
goodness.
So
No.
it is very easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now yes, they're supposed to send you a notice, but that's not grounds for not having it
Right. It's
Yeah.
done.
on you.
Yeah,
It's on
it's
you.
on you.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't
Mhm.
send that notice, it doesn't matter.
So you guys, I'm curious if you guys know this or not. Because for me, my CPL, I got my notice. I got it like 6 months ago, and I was able to renew just fine. Did it all online. I have another buddy who he actually got his CPL around the same time, same similar birth month. So his CPL just expired, but I don't think he ever got that note in the mail. So what do you do then? What do you do now? So because we looked it up. You have a 1 year grace period, but let's just say his didn't expire yet. How do you renew a CPL if you never got the notice in the mail? Do you know? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Um,
You have to
you go
call.
to the same place. You can
Yep.
still do it online.
Hmm.
You
The
just
problem
you
with
have
not
to.
getting the note, Daryl, is not getting that code.
Exactly. You don't get that code because it's similar to renewing your driver's license here in Michigan. You have like some PIN number that you get to renew it.
Okay.
That's
So
why I'm curious. So you probably have to call like City Hall or the county clerk or something. I was just
yeah,
curious if you guys knew just
yeah,
off the top of your heads.
you'd have
That's
to
all I
do
could think
that.
of.
Yeah.
I believe you can also call the Michigan State Police because
Oh.
they're
Hmm.
part of that. They're in control of that after you get that, but they're going to be super helpful.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Phil. When you called Michigan State Police about other questions, right?
I did. I called them about
Yeah,
SPR, and they
I
were
did too.
like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah."
Well, I called about AR pistols that you that if you buy a kit, like if you buy a stripped lower and then you make it an AR pistol, what do I do with the pistol sales form? Whatever. Yeah, it's no one really knows the
Nobody
answer.
knows. Nobody
No one
knows.
knows the answer for that.
They'll tell you to fill one out for yourself, which
Hmm.
technically, like, you can't, 'cause you can't be the buyer and the seller. You're not buying and selling it. There's not like
Hmm.
another form to register after you've created it.
It's just
So
not
Hmm.
it's
covered well.
messed up.
Exactly.
This is all
So
Michigan,
you
by
guys,
the way, for our listeners
not
outside the state.
lawyers. Hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. Michigan, and we are not lawyers. But
No,
okay,
not at all.
so I guess maybe some resources. What are some recommended resources you guys might think of? So let's say someone who's new, got their CPL, like what's next? Like they've
Mm.
got their holster, got their belt. Like what should they do now? What's next?
My advice is join a pistol club or a gun club. If they have classes, take them. If not, it's kind of like what happened with Daryl and I. One of the things, the first thing we got involved with is Steel Challenge. We had an
Hmm.
absolute hoot doing it. It's super safe. There's tons of people there to teach you the right ways. It's trigger time. It's all of those things. So you can do stuff like that. But I- we have an advanced class which would take you outside of the CPL where you'd be drawing from a holster,
Hmm.
doing some things like a reload, and it's very basic of what the four of us know how to do. I mean, we can do that in our sleep, but it's a basic, so it's tough to call an advanced class, but it's just after CPL class. Biggest thing is to keep, obviously keep using your gun, keep practicing, dry fire, get comfortable with it. Learn more laws,
Hmm.
learn all that stuff. So, um, like one of the slides in our and the McCargo thing is, this is the beginning of the class. It's a start. So,
Yeah,
you know,
I love it.
we have tons and tons of people, and I'm sure other instructors do as well, that they get that CPL, they put their gun in their purse or their holster, and that's it. They're done.
Hmm. Hmm. I know many people who have their CPL, and I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just weird or different because for me, like I carry every single day 10, 12, 14, 15 hours, whatever a day. And I just don't even think about it. And people are like, dude, I don't think I've carried in like a month.
Right.
Or it's been like 6 months since I've carried. I'm like, what? Like, Why? Like, we should be carrying every single day. It's our right. It's our responsibility. We should be doing it. But at the same time, I don't know. I think for me, like, maybe it's also the people I surround myself with and the people that I allow pour into my life, whether it's the people or the online. Because I don't know, I carry every day, and I know people who say I am their EDC.
Me. Tyler is my EDC.
I'm gonna go with bodyguard.
So joining
There
of a
we
I
gun
like that
club
one.
is probably the best advice that you can give somebody,
Okay.
because there is a huge disconnect between getting your CPL and getting the proper training for carrying in public.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds wrong, but that's what it is, because in the CPL class we do not allow drawing from a holster. There's no holsters involved in it in any of the curriculums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah. Wow.
and so even if you join a gun club or go to an indoor range, are they going to allow you to draw from a holster? Absolutely not.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
None of them do. So, getting in with some people that do like a steel challenge or something like that, and learning how to safely draw from a holster is probably the number one skill that you should get after getting your CPL. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have it before you go get your CPL.
Dude,
Right.
that's just crazy to me. Like, that's right. Looking back, you're right. Our instructor made it very clear we are not drawing from our holster, and I'm like,
It's too
you would.
dangerous.
I get that. It makes
Yeah.
sense because once again, this is, even though it's a concealed pistol class, you would think that, yeah, this is where I learn how to draw from concealment, draw from my holster. But it makes sense because a lot of people treat the class as, this is my 101 class, this is my level 0
Mhm.
class. When in
Well,
reality, it
it's not
shouldn't.
about how they treat it. It's about what it's the state of Michigan mandated that this is the
Hmm.
curriculum. It's not
That makes
allowed.
sense. That's crazy, me.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, it's crazy because Phil knows this. Like, I would love to be an instructor one day. I genuinely enjoy teaching people how to shoot a gun. We had our man camp recently
You
a
are
few
an
weeks ago.
instructor.
Yeah, but I love it. I really enjoy it. Like, there's a guy, for his name is Glenn. He's never shot a gun before. He was super nervous. He was scared, and it was just super fun for me. Like, all the guys knew, they were just like,
Those are good
Tyler.
times, aren't they?
It's so much fun. He's like, Tyler, this is his first time. He's never shot a gun. Help him. I'm like, yes. It was just cool that the guys knew that too. Like, get Tyler. Tyler can do it. And it was fun. Like, being able to, and we worked his way up. Like, because for me, I wish I had a 22. Because the way that I like to do is I like to go from a 22 to a rifle and then a pistol. So this would kind of work their way up. That's how I like to do it. And then, but it was just really cool just having him like super nervous, scared. Of course, teaching him the universal firearm safety laws, make sure things are safe. We do one round at a time. And then finally that aha moment hits and he's like, this is awesome. And that's just fun for me. I love it. And I know you guys do too.
Yeah.
So, but
We do.
man.
And that's why you are an instructor. All of us that have taught somebody or helped somebody shooting, we're instructors, and
Hmm.
uh, we're advocates of safe shooting and the practices of practicing freedom, and
Hmm.
all of those things. We can go into the little you know USA thing,
Yeah.
but as far
I
as
got to
yeah,
Yeah, a few years ago I got to work with a young lady from Germany. She was an exchange
Mm.
student over here. She'd never even laid
Okay.
eyes on a gun before. She had not seen one in
Wow.
real life.
oh my gosh,
Hmm. Yep.
And she was an exchange student staying with my sister and her husband, so we took her out back to their little private range, and
Hmm.
yeah, she enjoyed it. I mean, just watching the progression, like you say, it's really, really satisfying.
it is
Hmm.
She
definitely.
loved
It's
it.
the removing of the mysticalness of a firearm to a lot of
Oh,
people that have
such a great
never
way to put
shot
it.
before,
Yep.
because they assume that if they touch it, it's going to blow up, right?
Or it's like the
Mhm.
It's
forbidden
like,
fruit or
yeah, the
whatever.
forbidden fruit, not understanding. We're afraid of the things that we don't understand, right? I mean, that can be applicable to us, or applicable to so many things in our lives, but
Yeah, like
firearms is a
Democrats.
big one. Yeah, like Firearms is a big one because it is. I mean, it's a weapon when you look at it, but it can also be a tool. So, and it's not, it's everything. You should always be respectful of it and always treat it with that respect. But there's also a reason and idea to be proficient in using them and to not like to face those fears and to be able to say, yes, I know how to shoot. I can shoot and I can function within like the confines of a set of rules that I've been trained to, and I'd be safe about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will never forget. Daryl, you didn't get to go with us because I believe you were working, but Arnie had a family come in. Actually, two families come into the store. They were from Chicago. They're like, "Yeah, I wish we could take our kids. Our kids have never shot." No, both the fathers were. They had shot shotguns, like skeet trap type stuff. So they arranged it, and they brought. It was the two dads and seven kids that came in, and we shot everything from little 22 pistols to get into the 9 millimeters, all the way to the ARs, and we even got a shotgun out for them so that they could understand that. They had a blast, and I mean we had a super fun time, showing them that stuff. But two of them were females; they were girls, probably junior high girls, and they were pretty frightened. Until they figured out they could outshoot their older brothers, and they did it
There
all
you go.
day.
Very, very common. Women have, they don't try to muscle it like dudes do.
Well, and they'll take instruction.
That's also
Exactly.
very true.
It's the pride they'll take. Yep. Mm-hmm.
They will take instruction. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm saying, no, I wouldn't trade it. And one of the biggest things for me, and we talk about this all the time whenever we talk about all the tactical stuff that the four of us do, and the team and all that. But one of the best things about being an instructor is the fact that I'm with these guys. I'm with Susan, Arnie, and Daryl,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got each other's back, and just get to clown around, have fun. And the thing that we try very hard to do is to make that class light. We try to lighten up this heavy stuff because it's a lot of this stuff is heavy, heavy,
Oh,
heavy.
100%.
You're talking about awareness, and you're talking about all of the physiological and physical parts of, if you do get forced to use a firearm to defend yourself, what's going to happen, how it's going
Yep.
to go down, and things like that. So it gets heavy, and it's I don't know, it's
I
my goal to
agree.
lighten it up. So
Well, that's even something it's in my notes. I was going to talk about it, but just really brush over. Of course, like there are skills that every CPL holder needs, like that firearms proficiency, that situational awareness you're talking about,
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
conflict de-escalation,
Yep.
Yep.
legal knowledge, like you mentioned, is constant. Maybe not constantly, but it's definitely ever changing. And doesn't help that we're in a purple swing state, so
Purple swing state.
that's what we are, man. We're a swing state. We're purple. I mean, of course we're red for the federal election, but still,
Blue for the
we're
state
pretty.
level.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So we're like, what on earth? So because of that, like, okay, like federally cool, but then if we've got our governor and our legislature doing this and that, it's like what? So it's just having to know the legal knowledge of that. I mean, everything that happened with like the AR pistols on the federal level, and the bump stock stuff, you're just having to keep up with a lot of that. And of
Mhm.
course, like that mindset, I know what was really cool is with when I took my CPL class, because my buddy he's a Christian, so he really appreciates it, because a lot of times he'll have pastors in the group as well, that he'll have the pastor be like, hey, let's talk about the ethical side of it, the spiritual
Yes.
side of it, because it's true. Like you are training yourself and you're putting on a firearm on yourself, and there's a chance you might take someone's life. And now you're going to have to fight with that, or you're going to have to think about the spiritual side of like, well, doesn't the Bible says thou shalt not kill? Well, no, it says thou shalt not
It's not
murder. There's
murder.
a big difference.
Big
But
difference.
having to help people through that, and now, so there's just so many that goes into it.
It's funny. You know what? I'll do this. I think we can do this, Daryl. I would love to invite you guys to come and sit at this class.
Yeah.
I
Come,
would love to.
go. Okay. Well, when we'll try to get it hooked up, but come and sit in this class and see how it goes, and um, understand that we talk a lot about firearms and how to use it, but we talk much, much more about avoiding the conflict altogether, and
$100%.
never
Mm-hmm.
being close to even having to do anything unless you are forced to
Yes.
do so. So So it's a really good class.
Pretty
kinda-
good instructors. So,
It's fun. Our training room is beautiful.
is it in Muskegon or?
It's in Montague. It's up by Daryl.
North of
Okay.
Muskegon, a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
But no, I would be honored to. I would love that. That would be awesome, man.
Love to. I mean, for me, I'd love to have the critique of whatever and see how it feels to somebody that doesn't do it all the time, because we're pretty tainted, from the standpoint of we've watched that legal video 473 times.
I believe it. I believe it.
Stupid, but
Mm-hmm.
I could pretty much quote it.
Yeah.
I very much believe it, man. That's awesome.
Man. So I'd like to update it some, but and just to plug for anybody that's listening, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, Daryl, Arnie, and I we're super open to answering questions. Oh, I do know one thing I was going to hit. One of the things that Daryl, Arnie, and I, and Susan as well, that we absolutely love about McCargo is when you sign up for the CPL class, you get a 1-year membership to it.
Oh,
automatically.
nice. Okay.
And on there, the best part about that whole thing there is a portal on your site that is called Ask the Attorney. You can literally ask a firearms based question. They make that very, very clear. Don't ask about your divorce. So you can ask a firearms question and a for reals attorney will answer it back.
It's not ChatGPT.
It is not ChatGPT. That is actually, that's going to be interesting.
That's
yes, considering that the ChatGPT can pass the bar. So, yeah.
What's the requirement, Daryl?
Well, that was the only way that the state would allow them to do the legal portion by video, was to offer that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Interesting.
So that the students could have some interaction with a real attorney if they needed it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
That does make sense.
Mm-hmm. But cool. I guess you guys have any closing thoughts? Closing
around
statements?
CPL.
Around CPL. Okay.
Yeah. Come and check it out if you guys are looking for a CPL class and you got questions. Love to have you. And we do, like saying, we do have an advanced pistol class. Unfortunately, we don't offer that very often because there are not people interested in it, which
I'm interested in it.
Well, it blows my mind. No, you're so far past that class right now, Tyler.
You are. Yeah, you are.
I am intermediate plus,
Not
sir.
even close. This when we say this is an advanced pistol class, this is the 101 advanced pistol. This is where you would learn, like we're saying, how to get out of a holster, shoot from behind cover, do a reload. Like saying, we do that.
Oh, it's pistol 1. Got it.
Yep. It's because and the sad part, Daryl, how I can't even. How many students have we had in advanced?
I've only been there for 2 classes.
Right.
Wow.
And they're, because of the, oh, good grief. Because of what we're teaching and the complexity of it, we limit it to 6 students instead of 18.
For sure, yeah.
I've been there for 2 classes that probably weren't even full, so that's less than a dozen in the last 4 years.
Right. And my point on that, guys, is people just don't think it's important. They don't think that advancing is important.
Right. It's not required by the state, so I'm not going to spend money to do it.
Right there. Daryl hits the nail on the head.
Man, that's frustrating.
It's totally frustrating.
That's frustrating.
But the fun part about it is we've had several people that have excelled through, and they've come and they've done these things. And of course, the best part for me, Daryl might champion this as well, that will say, hey, what about this? What about that? What I said, hey, we do competitive shooting and it's super fun and the community is a blast. And it's one of the reasons that, like the super fun squad that we're part of blows up, because you guys are bringing people, we're bringing. There's room for everybody. And man,
we're going to need 2 squads, aren't we?
We're going to need,
we're going to have to split up.
Probably going to need 2 stinking club matches a month if this keeps up.
I can't afford that.
No, you only get to pick one. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm like, I can't afford that.
If everybody
makes sense now,
both of them, it doesn't make much sense. It doesn't help.
I see that makes a lot more sense. I'm like, I cannot afford that. I'm
So
on a pastor's salary.
it's one of those things. But like I'm saying, we're check out the website, and if you got any questions, there's phone numbers and ways to contact people and things like that. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody that wants to pursue it or just ask silly questions. There are no silly questions in firearms.
So I guess this is a great question is what is the Liberty and Freedom website, or where can they go to find more information? Is that where they should go to, the website?
It's the start. There's a
Yes.
lot of information on there. So it's libertyandfreedomllc.com.
Awesome. Well, I know I'm going to go there right after this podcast.
I'm going there right now.
I'm there right now.
I would go there right now, but I have like a mechanical keyboard and it gets very loud when I'm recording.
Ah,
It's like click, 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 click. Nobody wants that.
You
So
bunch
go.
of
Instructors. All right, I see a blank page for Brent. There we go. I see blank for Arnie. Oh, there's Susan, and blank for Daryl.
Yep.
Hmm.
So.
What's PIF?
You take this one, Daryl, because this didn't make
It's all
any sense to me
What is PIF?
at all.
Pit. Okay, that's the NRA program. Their CPL curriculum was labeled PITH, which is protection inside the home.
that's
The
right.
path
Yeah.
is protection outside the home, which would be the advanced pistol class.
Oh, okay.
Which none of us ever made sense that why don't you teach POTH when you're talking about a CPL, right?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
would think.
So PITH should be the basic pistol before you buy the pistol or when you buy the pistol, like Daryl hit. And POTH should be it. Like I'm saying, whenever the government and the politicians are in charge of this stuff, it's never going to make sense. Never.
Oh man.
So
Complete
Need to
side
get
note.
Doge. Need to get Doge involved.
I know, right?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Complete side note. I do appreciate that you guys have a picture of a guy using a thumbs forward grip. I really appreciate that. I
What are you
love it.
talking about?
No teacup.
Yeah, well, inside when you go into instructors, at the
Okay.
very top banner, there's a dude. Literally, all you see is his hands holding a pistol. He is holding it with a thumbs forward grip. I very much appreciate that.
Well, that's cool.
All right, that's about it. So, all right, Phil. So, what? Since you are our host who set up this episode, what's your dad advice?
I had an idea on this
I
actually.
don't
So
care. I don't care. I don't care.
No. Hang on. I'm gonna switch it up since this is our last episode of the year. I'm curious what everyone like what they're looking forward to next year in shooting.
Trump.
No, in shooting. Why are you not shooting Trump?
Well, oh my goodness, no! I mean, hopefully with him we'll have more freedoms and liberties. I highly doubt it, but still, I'm
Okay,
hopeful with
that's
especially with
fair.
his new AG. But that's what I meant by that.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So I was gonna say more of like I'm looking forward to the Zombie Invitational again next year, right? Like that's what I'm looking forward to.
Lower ammo prices.
That's fair. Do you guys have anything that you're looking forward to next year?
Yeah, Daryl does.
Right, cool.
Trump, see,
I
told
do.
you.
Yeah, you got something. For me, guys, it's when you say next year, it has already started as of December 2nd. My off-season training started, and I am back on the bandwagon with workouts and rucks and
Nice.
dry fire. So I am going to try to really put my foot in it to this year. I know that like for the Wolverine, I kind of drug some butt and pulled us down a little bit on that one. So I'm going to try not to be the old guy on the squad this next year for that and zombie and some of the other things that we'd like to do.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
a side note on that, what we've been talking about, and I won't spill the beans on this, as far as kind of doing a event. I'm looking forward to looking at that and building that, and getting ready to see if that's possible for us to do, because I'd love to do that with you guys and the team that we have, or that we would put together. So
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I think there are a lot of matches that are run really well, right?
Yep.
And obviously, no match will ever be run perfect, but everybody's got their like opinions and ideas, and you're like, I really like that you guys are like, we can do this. There's a path to us to get there. So I get excited about the path. And then like the day of is always enjoyable, but the path is always a lot of fun. So I agree with that. That's awesome.
Daryl and I talk about all the time. The training and planning and buying gear and shaking out gear is just about as much fun as doing the freaking event.
I would agree with that.
So Daryl's really not going to say anything, is he? He told us he wasn't going to.
I'm like,
No, I'm just.
Well, that's why I didn't answer any, but I was like, let's look goals for next year.
Okay.
I hope to be able to do exactly what I did this year. How's that?
Awesome.
Oh,
That's fair. Consistency.
Okay.
I love it.
All
You
right.
know, I'm really excited to try out the
Mike.
laser dry fire training at Liberty and Freedom for $10.
Yeah. So you saw that, huh?
It's on the website. I see it right here.
We'll
I feel like
let you know when it is.
Yep.
I feel like we'll have to go and we'll try out everything. Like I'm gonna look at your website like a menu, and I'm gonna order all of it.
Unfortunately, the 25 schedule isn't on there yet.
I see. I noticed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not 25 yet, so
I know. I get it.
but it'll follow suit to pretty much what that was as far as the weekends and what we're offering and stuff. But that laser fire is really fun. And don't forget, like if you guys ever want to do that, just not at that class, just come up and have the bros do it. What's those things we have for our ARs, Daryl? The Mantis or whatever it is,
I love
The
that
Blackbeard.
Blackbeard.
thing. Yeah, the Mantis Blackbeard.
Mantis, yeah.
So we could run our pistols with laser and our ARs with those in it because it'll interchange. Both Daryl and I have one of those. You have one, Tyler? No?
I have the Mantis Blackbeard. Yeah.
Okay. So
In red. I want to get a cool fire though. I will eventually.
but just use mine. So anyway.
Yeah.
We can do that
Excuse
sometime.
me. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Did you just throw up?
No.
Yeah,
no.
you good there?
The Blackbeard
back
actually works much better with that system than the Cool Fire does.
It does. Yep.
I believe it. Yeah.
The Cool Fire laser is so fast, the camera has a hard time picking it up.
Oh,
Right.
interesting.
Yep. And another thing, Daryl and I both have IR lasers for our Cool Fire, so you can't see the
Nice.
red dot on there. You have to go with your instinct, but of course then the system will pick it up. But Daryl's right; it's a little bit inconsistent compared to the Blackbeard, but we could do all that type of stuff, and we could have snacks. That was supposed to be funny.
It.
Snacks.
I love it.
I like snacks.
I love snacks. I love Skittles.
Hey, snack pack.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Sweet. All right. Well, if that's it, I think we should probably close this puppy out. And thanks everyone for listening. This is not only is this the last episode of the year, this marks our first year as Acceptable Accuracy podcast. So I cannot honestly think of any better guests to have on it. So Brett and Daryl, thank you very much for jumping on.
Always a pleasure.
Last
Phil.
episode.
Always
of
a pleasure.
the
Yes.
season.
Thank you for having us again.
Oh, 100%.
And I know that we do shoot together a lot. Probably the four of us, probably the ones that we shoot together the most. So I do appreciate that, and we always look forward to another year. Tyler and I continue to come out with more and more ideas and concepts that we want to cover. So we look forward to everyone joining us next year. Brett and Daryl will absolutely be back for future episodes of that,
Which will be with video.
Which will hopefully be with video. So we'll have to have Daryl go over to Brent's house and they can both be on video together. It'd be great. But with that, like, subscribe, comment, follow us on the Instagrams. Again, we're on all of the podcasting platforms. YouTube, eventually we'll be on video on YouTube. Once Tyler gets around to uploading more things to Instagram as well, we'll be there in force as well. But thanks for listening. Anything else I forgot, Tyler?
That's about it. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You as well.